skills such as public speaking. In recent years, Lightning has been able to expand their reach and spread the message of FIRST to a wider audience. 862 was given the opportunity to demonstrate their robot on a local Detroit news station. In 2017, 862 was invited to the Conference of Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Governors and Premiers, at which students presented the impact Lightning had on their career choices, as well as demonstrated their robot to 8 governors and 2 Canadian premiers. Check out these great reviews.
The biggest growth that I've seen in Lightning Robotics is graduating seniors coming back to mentor.
Lightning is able to expose a whole new generation of students to STEM and FIRST.
Teamwork.
Dedication.
Mentoring. Cooperation. Volunteering.
Leadership.
Inspiration.
Welcome to the game of FIRST Robotics. Please select your character. Before you start, you should upgrade your equipment.
Welcome to FIRST Robotics Competition. The goal of your quest is to spread the message of FIRST to those around you. In order to complete your quest, you must complete all 3 stages. As you travel through each stage, you will gain experience, and your team will level up. The objective of this stage is to get your team involved with all aspects of FIRST. To complete this stage, Team 862 has expanded their reach into different FIRST programs. Since 2015, Lightning has hosted 7 FLL Junior Expos consisting of 6 different STEM-based activities. 862 mentors 13 FTC teams, providing them with student and mentor support during their season. Since 2012, Lightning has annually hosted Canton FTC qualifiers at Canton High School. The objective of this stage is to participate in community events and community service. Team 862 completed this stage by promoting FIRST and STEM in the Plymouth-Canton area. Robots in the Park is Lightning Robotics' largest event. This free, day-long event provides young students with 11 different activities. In its 3 years of hosting, over 4,900 community members have attended. Girl Scout Robotics Exploration Day has reached 300 Girl Scouts over its 4 events. Digital Divas continues the Teams Girls Initiative, demonstrating the robot and teaching middle schoolers about FIRST at Eastern Michigan University. The objective of this stage is to create strong alliances with a broad range of sponsors. 862's main sponsor, Bosch, provides internships specifically aimed towards students of the team. Since 2014, 7 students have had internships with Bosch. Furthering sponsor relationships, team members volunteered at Nissan's VEX qualifier, filling roles such as inspector and referee. After completing all of the previous objectives, Team 862 has unlocked a bonus stage to grow their team as a whole. Several team alumni started a program called Leadership College, in which mentor and alumni speakers teach incoming student leaders skills such as public speaking. In recent years, Lightning has been able to expand their reach and spread the message of FIRST to a wider audience. 862 was given the opportunity to demonstrate their robot on a local Detroit news station. In 2017, 862 was invited to the Conference of Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Governors and Premiers, at which students presented the impact Lightning had on their career choices, as well as demonstrated their robot to 8 governors and 2 Canadian premiers. Check out these great reviews.
The biggest growth that I've seen in Lightning Robotics is graduating seniors coming back to mentor.
Lightning is able to expose a whole new generation of students to STEM and FIRST.
Teamwork.
Dedication.
Mentoring. Cooperation. Volunteering.
Leadership.
Inspiration.
Welcome to the game of FIRST Robotics. Please select your character. Before you start, you should upgrade your equipment.
Welcome to FIRST Robotics Competition. The goal of your quest is to spread the message of FIRST to those around you. In order to complete your quest, you must complete all 3 stages. As you travel through each stage, you will gain experience, and your team will level up. The objective of this stage is to get your team involved with all aspects of FIRST. To complete this stage, Team 862 has expanded their reach into different FIRST programs. Since 2015, Lightning has hosted 7 FLL Junior Expos consisting of 6 different STEM.
Alright, okay, hi everyone. My name is Kate Nolan. I'm a student on Lightning Robotics FRC Team 862. I am the communications leader of our team, and I'm going to be the main voice you're going to be hearing running this business plan webinar. The other voice you're going to probably hear at some points is Brian Derry, and he is our VP of Business.
Hi everyone, I'm going to be kind of moderating all the stream comments, making sure that everyone's questions get answered.
Right. About that, please, when you have questions, we would love to hear them. Ask them in the comments, and we will go over all your questions at the very end of the webinar. And we are going to jump right into this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to discuss is the changes in the Entrepreneurship Award. Yeah. You guys, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but first changed this award, the submission that goes along with this award, pretty drastically. In the past, the Entrepreneurship Award required a submission and a business plan. No limit was defined for how long the business plan could be, and first decided to change all of this for the 2018-19 season. The submission has totally been cut from the Entrepreneurship Award, and the business plan has been shortened to a 6-page summary business plan. 3 pages are allotted for things like team structure, outreach, financials, and other supporting documents, and the other 3 pages are designated for the appendices, and all those things we will be covering later in this webinar. Yeah, and then the 6 pages you're going to be turned into will be turned into the judges at competition, and that's how they're going to judge the business plan. Now we're going to be talking about the overview of our business plan. Okay, so the first thing is our executive summary. The executive summary is a very important part of the business plan. It is a short summary of team information from several different angles, which includes the mission statement, sponsors, and achievements. It works as a hook, which draws the reader in and makes them want to know more about your team. Some judges may only read the executive summary, so it's very important to make sure that this is well written and really summarizes your team. Things to include in your executive summary are your team name, your team number, your team location, and your team's mission statement. Your mission statement is an overview of your team's goals for the season and the values in general for your team. Many companies have mission statements, so it's natural that we would have one, that your team should have one too. It should also include when your team was founded, the number of your team members, and your current sponsors, and then a brief summary of your expenses and the income for your season. Okay, here's our business. This is the page from our business plan of our executive summary. If you notice, it's 1.0, which means like it's the first page the judges see. It should be in the beginning. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about team structure. It is helpful to organize your team structure visually. For example, we have 2 graphics. The first is showing all the mentors of the subgroup and our lead mentor. And the lower graphic, we detail the student positions such as the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and the build supervisor, and then all the subgroup leaders and who they kind of fall under and who they need to like respond to. We detail our entire build season in a clear schedule as well, which we don't have up here, just to also show the judges that like we are like organized and stuff like that. Next, we're going to talk about team history, which we don't have a.
I can pull up the business plan document.
Yeah.
For it.
We're going to pause while Brian pulls up the business plan document
Right,
for it.
It said team.
History, yeah.
That is.
I think it's there. Wait, isn't that it?
Yes.
Okay. Here's ours. It's more of like a paragraph, less of like a graphic. There's a small one at the bottom. It's important to include when your team was founded, where and who was the founder. It's important to include your sponsorship history. Who was like your main sponsor when your team started? Are they still your sponsor today? If they're not, maybe why, and what you did to combat that. And it should also include big events that happen in your team, such as awards, like if you won chairman's when you did that, if you won an event when you did that, and then like big, large outreach things that you do for your team. Next, we're going to be talking about strategy. Hold on 1 second. Okay, So here it is. The strategy is the main goal or goals for your team, and how you recognize action plans to achieve these goals. So if you see, ours is POOK, which stands for People, Outreach, Operations, and Knowledge. And we go into more detail and explain our action strategy for each of the category. And that's like how our team is going to like respond to each of those things individually. And we also have another page in our business plan which explains marketing and then other business operations for the team, and like our strategy with those, because it is important to include marketing and communications, obviously, into your team, and like, yeah. Next, we're going to be talking about another very important part of our team is the SWOT/the sustainability. This should be on the slideshow if you want to go back. Or it's fine.
So we can zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah. In order to better prepare teams to face the operational challenges that they face throughout their seasons, we suggest that a SWOT analysis, SWOT standing for strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats, is created so that the team and the judges can better visualize your team's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Each team should have their own set of unique challenges based on team size, funding, leadership. Like, no team is perfect, so everybody's got to have issues. And an example from each of our categories is a subgroup and student specialization for strengths, drop off in student participation past preseason for a weakness. This is for our team specifically. Developing relationship with your local businesses for opportunities, and then loss of a team advisor as a threat to our team. Your team may choose to set this up in a table graphic, sort of like we have, and include it in your appendix. The thorough analysis should definitely be included in the first 3 pages of your business plan, though, because as I said, it is a very important part, and all teams should identify this in their business plan. Sustainability is the second part of the SWOT analysis, and that considers the team's sustainability. It is a thorough explanation of how your team would respond to the threats listed in your SWOT analysis. This should include a plan to try to prevent the threat and a contingency plan of how your team should respond if the threat should happen. So this is ours. Here you see right now on the screen, loss of a sponsor. We have the risk level of that happening, and then the impact level. Like, so it's low risk that we're losing a sponsor in this time right now, but it would have a very big impact on our team because that means less funding. And this is how we plan on making sure that doesn't happen, our fail-safe. And then the contingency plan for us is what we do if that should happen. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to go to financials. You need to clearly explain your sources of income and expenses so the judges know where you're getting your funding from. Group them into larger sections, such as $3,000 from sponsors rather than $2,000 from Company A and $1,000 from Company B. Once again, a visual will really work well here. Use color coding to clearly show the income and expenses. However, put all visuals in the appendices. Not on the 3 main pages. Organizing into charts can also help this. This gives a more general overview, and it is easier to view how income and expenses compare to each other over the last years that your team has been a team. Okay, and finally we're going to be talking about the appendix. So this section will make up the last 3 paragraphs of your business plan, the last 3 pages of your business plan, sorry. It should contain more detailed and extra information that the reader might want to know about. Your appendix should include additional information about the topics mentioned in the first 3 pages so that there was no room for. This includes things like graphics, charts, tables, pie charts, all the graphics for the financials that we showed you above. Like, that would be something that we would consider putting in our appendix, just because there's not enough. Yeah, like these. There's just not enough room for it in our in the 3 summary pages. But this will just be if the judges want to be referred to a visual. They have that here. So then the last thing is outreach and initiatives. You should include your outreach programs for the year, as well as a summary of each event. Don't make this a main focus, but include it if you have room, as it is not the most important thing to include in your business plan on this list, but if you could, it would probably be nice for your team. Keep track of the type of event, whether you hosted it or not, how many people from your team participated in it, and if it is related to FIRST or another FIRST team or a different organization. Organize your activities. STEM-related activities should go together. FIRST-related activities should go together. Community outreach events should go together, and that'll make it easier for the judges to comprehend. And our last section is going to be called How to Start a Business Plan. And this is for the teams who are listening who haven't started a business plan and are looking towards doing that for this season. The most important thing to have is your executive summary and your team history. This will help you know, this will help the judges know what is like, this is like a because the business plan obviously is a summary, but this is like a summary of the summary. So it's important to have. It should, as I said in the beginning, it should be the first page, definitely. Including team history will also give the readers some background knowledge about your team, and this helps the judges gain a deeper understanding of who your team is. The next thing is the mission statement. If your team does not already have one, you should consider making one. I know our mission statement is STRIKE, and that is an acronym which stands for
Student-led, teamwork, resilience, inspiration, knowledge, and engagement. So
Right.
I can pull that up real quick.
Brian's gonna pull that up. And then it also helps to show the judges that your team has an overall goal. We decided to do ours as kind of like a play on, because we're lightning robotics, obviously like lightning strikes. So yeah, and then a mission statement does not have to be long. It should be relatively short per our mission statement. And then those are the three most important things you need to have. Again, executive summary, team history, mission statement. Those are the most important. The other three, SWOT and sustainability, financials, and strategy, are also definitely important. And those should all three be included in your business plan. You should make room for them if you don't have room. And then team structure, team history, and then the outreach initiatives. They can be, you want them in your business plan, but if something needs to be cut, you could take them out. Okay, and then, of course, before you submit, make sure you go to firstinspires.org and check that you have all the requirements on there. If you haven't looked at the requirements for the 2018-2019 business plan submissions yet, then you definitely should if you're going to submit this year. And that is all I have for this presentation. We will now look at questions, if you have any.
Okay, so the first question we have is from, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, Melissa McCarthy, and saying, we have a team that is structured like a publicly traded company. How different is this format from last year? So you can correct me if I'm not interpreting your question correctly, but the structure of your team itself does not have to change per the rules of the Entrepreneurship Award. The only thing that first has changed is the way that you have to express your team's inner workings in the paper or PDF format, meaning that in previous years, like up until the Power Up season, which is the last season in which the old Entrepreneurship Award and business plan were in effect, you could have as many pages as you want, and you had to do the 1,600 character submissions for, I believe, 9 of the Entrepreneurship Award questions. But this year, again, it's being shortened down to 3 pages of business plan, 3 pages of appendices, and no entrepreneurship online submission like on the STIMS website. So no matter how your team is structured, like I know Kate talked about our team structure a little bit, if your team is structured, like you said, like a publicly traded company, there is no really restrictions on how you can run your team. The only thing would be just making sure that you're able to fit all of it in the 6-page format, which I know is going to be a struggle for all of us, but it'll be a different struggle just depending on how your team is structured. So if I answered your question, just let me know if there's anything else you want to follow up on. Other than that, I don't think we have any other questions as of now. So
I don't know if you guys do have questions and you were just like listening and you weren't able to like think of them. So I think it would be nice to take maybe like a 2 or 3 minute break and let you guys comment. And when we come back, if there's no comments, then we'll end it, I guess. And then if there is, then we'll answer your questions. And okay, so we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And we got a few other comments. Okay, so the first comment is from Jeffrey from 6753 that says, we are a small team that is spread out and not able to do much outreach. Any tips? So we are a large team and we run a lot of outreach operations, which is we're very grateful for it because we have so many people. But we understand that for smaller teams, it's going to be more difficult. And the judges understand that too. Anything and everything that you do outside the team, I guess, should be considered as outreach. And it doesn't like, or at least you guys should, because it doesn't need to be huge. It doesn't need to be like a big event, like you're hosting a first, I don't know, FTC event or something like that. It can be small things, like what we're doing right now. It's like this business plan webinar. I mean, it's nothing huge. It's nothing big. It's just we're helping other teams. If your team has a strength, maybe consider sharing that strength with other team, with other team. If you know any teams near you guys, maybe try and like collaborate on something. But again, you shouldn't need to worry that your team, like, the judges will understand that because your team is so small, obviously you're not going to be able to do as much outreach as someone who as a team that has 50 plus people. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, feel free to comment again.
Yeah, just kind of going off on that a little bit, especially if you are a spread out team and that is a concern of yours, that is definitely a good thing that you could possibly tie into the sustainability section of your business plan. Even if you do go over some of your outreach activities, which again do not have to be huge, gigantic, like extravaganza, like giant hosted event kind of things, but if you are concerned that they may be interpreted wrong, that's a great thing to put in your sustainability, saying that you recognize that this is a weakness of your team or a threat to your team and you're being able to solve it later, or have a plan to solve it in the future. Also, some of those plans could be, again, like Kate said, they don't have to be big. Like, I know in the last year we've done some very small events, especially with our school district, the Plymouth Canton Community Schools School District. Things like demonstrating our robot at the 8th grade extravaganza, which is hosted in one of our local parks, and 8th graders are able to, that's a back to school bash, which is hosted in the parks, and that 8th graders are able to walk around, and pretty much all high schoolers are able to look at the different activities in our high school campus, and so that's just kind of a small thing to get involved with our school district. And the 8th grade extravaganza, a different thing being within one of our high schools where we just kind of spread the message of our team, kind of recruit people to our team, get people interested in the informational meetings. And I know also just kind of local community things, especially with kids. I know a few months ago, I think towards the beginning of the first Power Up season, we had a few kids go to one of our libraries, our local public libraries, and read storybooks to kids about different STEM-related stuff. So again, it doesn't have to be big. If you feel that it might be an issue or a threat to your team or a threat to your contending in the Entrepreneurship Award, that's definitely a good thing to highlight. Again, if there's anything else you want to ask about that, Jeffrey, be sure to comment. We'll still be listening to that. Next up, Xander Stewart. We see 2 questions from you. I'm just going to read off the first one. Should we eliminate graphics and charts from the main 3 pages and only use them if space is available in the last 3 pages? So, unfortunately, that looks like it's going to have to be the case just because there's so little space. I know that here I can pull up our business plan real quick. We have a lot of graphics, and some of the stuff like Kate was talking about during the PowerPoint was we kind of, here I can bring up an example being kind of the finances page, that we had a small graphic on there at the bottom, but we went more in depth into it in the appendices. It's just kind of the stuff like the stuff I'm highlighting right now. That's gonna kind of have to be the bulk of the stuff in your main 3 pages, just because even though the picture might be more helpful for a graphical representation, it just takes up a lot of space that the text could elaborate a lot more on. Like I was talking about, so we have that one graphic there, in our appendix, we have a section called Detailed Financial Information. Again, all of this is coming from the Power Up Season's business plan for our team. Being that we had a few more graphics, again, this might be a little bit bigger or a little bit too much information, especially since there's a page limit now, but kind of having the first 3 pages be more text-based and having the appendices be graphic-based, being able to reference your appendices in the main text, just to kind of separate the text and the graphics, is going to have to be, unfortunately, although the combination of text and image is usually helpful, just because of the space constraint is going to be most likely what we're going to do and what we might suggest for other teams to do. And another question from Xander Stewart, is there an electronic submission as well as a physical submission? That's one of the biggest changes that's happening this year, being that as of the 2019-2020 season being Destination Deep Space, there is no... 1819. There is no electronic submission like the Entrepreneurship Award was in previous years. All there is the 3-page, 3 appendice pages business plan. I think they call it the summary business plan, that is handed into judges at events that gets considered for the awards. And each district event submit or only one. You can submit this, and you can talk to judges about this at all of your district events. It is not like the Chairman's Award, where if you don't win it at districts, you can't compete for it at states. There is no dependency on winning the awards at the different tiers of events, being that it's possible to win the Entrepreneurship Award at 2 district events. And it's possible to win the Entrepreneurship Award both at district and states, or not at districts and at states. Like last year we won at one of our district events and one of our state events. So there is no electronic submission anymore. The physical submission is the summary business plan like we've been talking about, the 3-in-3 page. And you can submit that for as many events as you'd like. Just make sure that you're prepared with any materials such as a printout of the summary business plan, meaning that you'll have to turn that into the judges. From our experiences, they always hand those back, but it's always good to have a few extra copies, especially if you want to give a copy to the judges while you're talking, be able to flip through and show them different things.
Okay. There look to be no more comments, so I'm going to wrap this up with a few closing statements, okay? Our first one will be: select your content strategically to include in your business plan and share the most important information. Like, obviously, you got, like, all the fluffy stuff has got to be cut out. Graphics that you think might not be as important as other graphics, you might need to, like, choose between the two. You only have 6 pages, and unfortunately, that's how it's going to have to work this season. Lead the reader or the judge to the conclusion that you want them to have. Your team is in charge of writing your own business plan, and you can sway things different directions to make your team sound better and to enhance your chances of winning. And then use pictures or graphics to replace large paragraphs because they will take up less space, obviously. And also, we think that the submission was changed so that judges could have more of an even playing field while judging all the teams' business plans, because some teams' business plans were just like these, 3-6 pages, really short, whereas other teams' business plan were 200, 300-page binders, and they were huge. And this kind of allows first to say, okay, each team, 6 pages, that's it. And it'll allow it will allow teams to be judged more on even playing field, which is why we think why first change this award. And the last thing is that if you do have a large business plan like us, don't just scrap it and start over from the beginning. Your business plan is definitely, it can help you get more sponsors. It can help you it can be to refer back to information if you're thinking about stuff from like previous years and you want to know a stat. You can use your business plan. You can even have your longer business plan in the pits with you. I know we probably will. For more visuals, if a judge comes around, asks a question, why not? There's no rule against it. It's just this is not going to be the one that you will be submitting. But definitely don't start over. Keep it. It will help your team in the long run. And I think that is all we have. Oh, that's right. Sorry, Brian just reminded me that we have to. If you have any other questions, you can email us, and we will put the email in our comments at the end. It is, what's
it?
It
is
email?
862.first@gmail.com.
I'll
be sending that in the comments right now. I'm typing it.
Right. And if you have any other questions, if you want us to look at your business plan, if you want us to help you at all, we would be delighted to. So,
Here, Melissa just asked, will this be available to reference back to? Assuming I set up the live stream correctly, this will be available right after it finishes processing. It'll be available on the Lightning Robotics YouTube page. It'll be unlisted as at first, meaning that only people with the link can see it. But I will be able to change that once it's done processing to make it public. So this will be available for access pretty much indefinitely after this live stream is complete.
and your Bosch mentor will send out a link to it to all the Bosch teams if you're a Bosch team. Great. Brian just commented the email. Email us if you have any other questions. And I think, thank you for tuning in.
Yes, we
Very
really
much.
appreciate everyone coming in, asking your questions again. If you have any further questions, be sure to check us out on social media. We may be posting updates on there. Or if you want to establish a direct connection, be sure to email us, just like Kate was talking about.
We'd love to have a direct connection with you.
All right, so thank you, everyone. We're going to end the live stream now, and this will be available on YouTube soon.
Goodbye. Thank you.